Hello and welcome back, guys. All right, so as usual, let's do the YouTube stuff. If you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button to help the channel grow. That way I can make more videos and you can learn more. All right, so far we have a simple problem here where the total number of questions is not being updated properly. So I think if we fix that, we're going to fix all these other errors here as well. Now, if we go to the table for answers, you will notice that only answer 2 is missing, even though these other questions were not loaded. It didn't override them, and that's because it only looks at what is loaded here, and then that's what it updates when you say save answers, which is very convenient. So let's see how we can update the total questions to the correct number. So we go to the tech test controller, inside controller, tech test here, and this is where we get our total questions. So it looks at the questions variable here. If it's not an array, then it just says 0. If it is an array, then it counts the amount of items in there and returns that number. So instead, let's change these questions to all underscore questions like this. So I just want us to have another variable where we read all questions. So I will duplicate this. This is Ctrl-Shift-D. Just make sure you haven't selected anything. Just put the cursor like that. Make sure it's not a selection. And then, because if it's a selection, use Ctrl-Shift-D. That's duplicating that item. But like this, we're duplicating the line. So here, let's say all underscore questions is equal to, let's use quest, but instead let's use query here so that we can craft a very specific query. We don't need any of these offset, order by, none of this. We just need to craft a query here, which is select. Now I don't want to get too much data from here, so I'm just going to say select ID from, because it really doesn't matter the data I get. I just want to know how many items are there. So just say select ID from tests where test ID is equal to wait a minute. Wait, this is from questions, yes, not tests. So let's come back here. I want to check it's test questions. Yes. Okay, so select ID from test questions where test ID is equal to, let's just use test underscore ID like this. And then we're going to create a, we'll use this ID here because that's what we were using here. Let's create an array here and put test ID, put that arrow on the ID like this. So this is all questions. That's what we're checking for here. That should give us a more accurate result. So back here, let's refresh. Okay, so let's see here, the number of questions is 8. That is more accurate. And yet we still have 50% here, which is a problem. So let's see what these errors are all about. So undefined property user ID on line 84. Questions model. Okay, so maybe, wait, what is it looking for again? User ID. In the questions model on line 84. Okay, so I think the reason it's complaining about that is because I didn't get user IDs from there, so I understand what's going on. So let me go to the model, questions model. It's in one of these functions here that gets the user ID. Wait, what was that? 84, right here. So the problem is I just went in and just looked for, just looped through the data. But what I should have done is checked in the data if user ID exists. So I'm just going to say if is set, just for times when I don't get everything from the database. If is set 0, because this is an array of an array, user ID like this, then we can look through this part of the situation like so. Let me move that in. Okay, so if there is a user ID column somewhere, then that should happen. Refresh. Okay. Now the reason I can get away with that is because I'm just using this result for counting and not for displaying any data. But otherwise, if I was, I should use all, so that all columns are returned as required. Okay, so this is all good. 8 questions, but why do we still have 50%? Okay, oops. Let's see what issue we have here. Tech test tab. Let's see what's happening. Total questions, yes. But then get saved answer. So that's getting your answer. But what about where it's getting the total? Where is that? Oh, there we go. Okay, so percentage, boom. Now here we are looking at questions and saved answers. Right. Okay, so that's where the flow is. Because we are going through all the questions and then we are getting the answer. So I guess at the end of the day, we still need all questions. So I'll just put all questions here. The only problem is we have only the ID there. So that was a wrong call. So what I will do is just put star here, and that should solve the problem. So refresh. Okay, so undefined variable, all questions. Well, not to fear. If we go here, just like we have put total questions, we can put all questions. So hopefully none of this will be confusing. So total question is just the number. So maybe you can put num there, just so you know. And then all questions is just the questions, all of the questions. And this one is just the current questions we are displaying. So let's see how that works. At least that looks much better. 87 point something. And if I 1964, save. Okay, so 100% answered. Good. If we go to the next page and let's delete this one and save the answer, we still get that 87.5. Wait a second. What happened? Click. I went here. Let me remove that and save my answers. Okay, so this is counting properly, but it's taking me back to the first page when I click save your answers. In fact, let me change this. It shouldn't be save your answers. It should just be save answers, like that. Okay, so let's prevent it from going back to the first page, and we'll do that by looking at the redirect. So we have to check if there's actually a page here, and we are not on the first page. Let's see here. If I go to the URL and let's go to the next page. In fact, let me just hover on this. There's and page is equal to at the very end. Okay, no problem. So we just check if is set and just add a page number there, right? So I'm going to say this is the part where we save the answers to the database, and the redirect is here. So what I will do is concatenate and say page number like this. You can name this variable anything you want. I just want to put a default value here and say page number is equal to, let's say, and page is equal to 1, because we know at least it should be page 1. But then we'll say if is set, if not empty, get what is it called, page. Let's see, let's confirm. Yes, it's just page. If that isn't empty, then what we do is we change the value of page number and we set it to that. So page is equal to, and concatenate that page number, like so. All right, cool. So refresh, and let's try again. Let me go to page 3, and let me delete an answer from here as well. Hopefully it returns me back here. Let's save, and we are back here. Okay, so that solves the problem there. At least now we see the percentage. Now the issue is, at least here it shows the percentage of how many questions were answered. But if I go to my tests here, I want to, instead of seeing this active here, because this is irrelevant, this is information for the lecturer actually, not the student. Instead of seeing this, I should just see how much of this I have answered. That's it. Okay. So in order to do that, we have to move a few things. This is a tech test. This thing that tells us what percentage of the test was done is inside the tech test controller. Now the problem is we can't instantiate the controller on a separate page. We don't want to be doing that. So instead we have to move these functions, either just make them as standalone functions in the functions.php page, or we can add them to one of the models. So tests model seems like a good candidate because these things are talking about tests anyway. So let's do this. I'm just going to cut these from here. Okay, these functions. So 2 functions I've removed. Cut. Let me go to the tests model, and in here I can paste them here. Okay. So no need to protect them anymore because they are no longer in the controller. Let's put them as public so we can access them anywhere. So get answer percentage. Now this is going to obviously cause a few problems. If I click take this test, then I have this code to undefined method. So where is this? On line 33. So tech test view on line 33. Where is that? Tech test view line 33. Wait. Okay, that's not the place. It's where is this? Tech test tab line 1. Is that accurate? Oh yeah, line 1. Okay, so this is the tech test tab view inc. So it can't find this. So instead of all this, we can just instantiate the other. Actually, you know what? Just to simplify things a little bit, we can just put these guys inside the functions page. Let me move this to simplify things because I don't want to start instantiating models inside the views. So that's not really a good idea because we need to keep the views as simple as possible. So let me just add this inside the functions.php. I would rather we have everything that we use in the views should just be functions. Everything that we use in the controllers should be models. That's just how I choose to do things. So not really a rule or anything like that. Yeah, so in the core functions here, let's go down to the end and just add these guys down here. Now, since they're no longer in a class, we don't need to write the word public. They are already public functions. Just shift tab these to move them back. Okay, so things will still work here. We just need to change remove this at the beginning, and that should work. So refresh. And inside one of these functions where there's this get answers, so let's remove that as well, and that should make everything more accurate. It wasn't a problem here because this doesn't have actual questions unless here. Okay, so uncode function get answer, where is this? Line 28. Let's check that again. Where is line 28? Right here. Okay, so remove this and we should be golden. Okay, cool. Okay, so everything is good here. All I need now is to show the percentage of what has been answered by a specific user right here. That way the user just looks at the tests and they can see how much of each test they have already answered. In case they haven't completed, then they can take that test again. All right, I will see you in the next video.